biting the kisser.
Hey, how the devil are you? Right, look what we've got today. It's the Douk Audio A100. Right, A100. Now, quite an intriguing amp again. They're designing all these new intriguing amplifiers coming over from China. This one's no different. Now, this can be a plain, ordinary stereo amplifier. Or you can have it as a subwoofer only amplifier. Or you can get two, have one in mono, powering your sub, and have one in stereo. And the other one can also be attached to a powered sub. Right, let's get this out of the box and see what we've got.
Ta-da!
Before we get into it, let's have a good look at the specs and what we got. So obviously you got that big heatsink on the top and small heatsink on the side. I don't think that's going to overheat in a hurry. Should be pretty good. Do you know what I like? Full-size speaker binding posts. Yay! Yes, come on. Go on, come on. There's Douk Audio. Yeah, good for you, son. Right, then we've got what we've got over here then. I'll come back to that in a second, but this has also got, so they seem to all be putting in now, a lot of them are putting in PFFB, and that significantly reduces distortion, improves linearity, frequency response, and sound purity. And I'm reading that verbatim. Yoink. What we got here? Anything? I was using the, well, most of them are using it, all the decent ones are using this TPA3255 amp chip. I do believe that they are using the 5232 op amps in there, and I think they are swappable. But isn't it weird? They call, so the amp chip is 3255 and the op amps are 5532. Don't want to make it confusing for us, do you? And it's also using the 48 volt 5 amp. It's got Japanese Sagami inductors, Japanese Rubicon capacitors, German Weimar capacitors, Japanese Nichicon capacitors. There you go. Well, anything else worth a note here? Yeah, not really. Now this. So let's have a closer look at this. Hang on. So you can see here they got your mono channel. So this is going into just a subwoofer, using the amp as a subwoofer amp only. Or you can have it as a 2-channel here, right? Stereo. 2.1, but this is into an active subwoofer coming from the auxiliary out there, right? There you go. And then a 2.2 channel. Now, initially I thought this might be like the Fozzy Audio V3 monos. I don't think it is. So the V3 monos, you can get two. One will be your left channel, one will be your right channel. I think this is either a stereo amplifier or a subwoofer amplifier. I don't think it's a left and right channel mono amplifier as such, because if you look at the setup here, you can see it goes into the right channel here and the right channel here. Okay, so that then is going over to your stereo speakers. So you've got 2.2 channels, so you've got your stereo speakers there and an active sub. And you've got this bottom one then going to your passive subwoofer. The only thing I'm finding a bit confusing with this diagram here is that so if that's going in, if they're both going into the right channel, surely it means you're only getting a mono signal go into these left and right speakers. Am I reading that wrong? So yeah, so if I've only got, so I've got maybe I better have a look at the manual and see if I'm right there. But from that configuration there, it looks to me like you're only getting the right channel, both. So the left and right is coming from source. You got one channel going into the right there, and then the other channel from this going into also the right here. So therefore, then this can only be putting out a mono signal, is it? I don't know what's going on. Anyway, we see if you can work that out later on in the video. But by my thought process here, if you're only sending one channel from this audio source here today, that can't be a proper stereo signal, can it? Anyway, right, let's have a look at the specs. So it comes with the 48-volt 5-amp. That's in mono mode here, and that's in stereo mode. So into 4 ohms, 120 each, and 315 in mono mode. And 8 ohms, 102 and 190 respectively. Okay, so I know it looks like a Frankenstein's monster this together, but it's just for the sake of the video. I would normally have this a lot tidier if it was a permanent setup. Right, so how I've got it configured is I've got running into the back there, right? I got my speakers running into left and right, back of the Fozzy. And I've got the auxiliary running out of the Fozzy into the back of this here, right? There you go. There we are, all right? See that? Boink, running into there. And the source is my DAC, so I got the DAC running into the back of the Fozzy. Right, so this now I'm using as a subwoofer amp. So I've got it set in mono, okay? I've turned it on to mono, and I've got it in sub. So that's where you want it. If it's in flat, it defeats these tone controls, okay? So on the back here, you can see that, so when you've got it in mono, this channel essentially does nothing. Right, let me just play some music, okay? So at the moment, I've got the Fozzy turned down, the V3 turned down. Ooh, it's vibrating on my furniture. And that's just the subwoofer. That does nothing, right? That's the auxiliary volume there. That only works for the auxiliary out if you had it connected to an active subwoofer, or you could use this as a preamp, and if it was connected to another amplifier. So that actually is the volume for the auxiliary out. Okay, are you with me? Now I'm not sure, it says subwoofer super bass. Now I'm not sure if this is just an extra volume, right? Or is it just subwoofer volume, or is it gain? I don't know if it's on the input stage or the output stage. I don't know, but it does increase. I don't know if it's increasing the volume or the gain. I'm not sure. Okay, there we are. Are you with me so far? Right. And just to show you, there we go. And that's it coming through. That is it coming through stereo through my speakers, and this is just going to the subwoofer. Anyway, let's turn that down. Okay, let me just stop that a sec. Right, so in their literature, it doesn't show that you can use this like a V3 mono, but on closer inspection, I feel that you can, and I'll show you how. Right, let me just turn it this way. Right, so when you've got it in mono, you connect your subwoofer or whatever's there, right? Out on these channels here. So from the V3, one of these is the right channel, one of these is the left channel, yeah? But this left channel here does nothing, okay? So that is obsolete when it's in mono mode. So all I've got coming from the V3 is the right channel, boink, in there. However, if I had another one of these side by side and I put that in that right channel there, that essentially will be giving me the left channel coming from the Fozzy Audio V3, All right. So therefore, surely, also as well, hang on a sec, hang on, right? I would imagine you'd have to put it to flat, not in sub. Because what it is, when you got it in sub, I think it cuts out all the higher frequencies. So you'd have to put it to flat. Let me just play some music, see what happens. So now we've got it in mono mode in flat. So that now defeats these controls here for the subwoofer. Okay, the subwoofer controls are switched off. Just got it in flat. So that, again, that's doing nothing. Okay, so watch now. If I take that out, right, that's the right channel coming from the Fozzy. Now I can put the left channel in. So the sub's now playing the left channel. Right. So surely you can use these as mono blocks. And if so, why are they not advertising that in the literature? It's weird. Am I missing something? Maybe I am. I don't know. Maybe I am. Anyway, here we are. Right, let's get this set up in stereo mode now. Right, I've got it set up in stereo mode now. So if you notice, I've got it set to flat. That defeats these controls here. Into stereo as well. And so it's just a flat stereo amplifier. And it sounds very decent. Sounds good. The only thing is though, and I think another reviewer mentioned this, is the volume. Look, halfway. So there's 0 and there's halfway. It's not particularly loud, is it? That's almost 3/4, just at the 3/4, and you just get to 3/4 and it's like, in your face, sucker! It's like, it's strange, it doesn't get loud until you get, if you want to get it to a decent standard of, for me, I like to listen to it around about maybe, I don't know, that volume. So I got to get it all the way to 3/4 to get it to a decent volume. And then from 3/4 to full, it goes mental. So all the main volume is here. So look, is it a deal breaker? No, you just turn the volume knob up a little bit more than you normally do. But there we are. Just thought you should know about that. Anyway, so obviously now I've got to do a sound test. I'm like, oh, you know I love a sound test. God damn it. So I'm going to compare this to the Fozzy Audio V3. Have a listen to this. So what do you think? Well, I think the Douk Audio sounded a bit better, personally. Now, I think though that in the Fozzy V3's defence, the Fozzy Audio had a deeper bass, a bigger bass. Now this could slightly affect the recording, potentially, okay? Because if the microphone peaks, if the bass is too high, it can affect the recording. So that could have happened. Now, but I will say the Douk audio sounded much more even right through the frequency ranges, and the Fozzy was a bit more laid back. And so sound-wise, the Douk audio performs really well. Not bad at all. Really good. Anyway, also as well, before I forget to mention that on Amazon at the moment, there is, around the world, there's percentages off. I don't know, I only know about the UK and the US, but in the US, you can get 50% off with a voucher if you apply the voucher, and I think that's running until the 20th of September. So they're normally $200. So you can get it for $100, so potentially you could buy two. And in the UK, I think it's only a 30% discount, but in the UK, it's £190. Shut up, what's that about? What are you on about? What's that? Ugh. Anyway, but before I leave now, before I go and finish this video, I thought I'd experiment with using it as a mono amp. Now I haven't got two, so I could only do it with one channel, right? So what I've done now, I've connected this up as a monoblock to the right channel. So on the back here, I can show you. And I've obviously disconnected this from my DAC. I don't want to have any short circuits or anything. So I've got it set to mono on the front. I've got it set to flat on the front. And on the back then, I've got the right channel coming from my DAC to this, okay? And I got the two speaker binding posts from this speaker go into the mono outputs at the back here. And then if I had another one, all I would do was would be to plug this in the back in this section here and run that speaker to that. And there I would have two mono amps running in stereo. And it sounds absolutely fine. Let me play some music for you. I tell you what, it's getting warm. That heatsink is doing its job. So it's in mono, in flat. Make sure I got it all set. Let me just get some music for you. Let's try that. It sounds fine, absolutely fine. So there you go. You can use them as monoblocks. So what I find weird is, why are they, like I said earlier, why are they not advertising this, that you can use them as monoblocks? Maybe they think that we just assume that it is. But in all the sort of variables you could do it, it didn't show it as monoblocks. Strange, weird. Anyway, but there you are. So I think you can run them as monoblocks. I just proved it there. If I had another one, I could show it better, but I want to go one. There you go. Anyway, decent amp. And I'll catch you in the next one.